Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Enlighten Up podcast. Today, I couldn't be happier to introduce you to a brand new guest. I had the pleasure of being on her podcast, which I will leave a link to in the description below in case you missed the episode. But Petia Kolibova Burns is an abundance and light activation coach who guides women to intuitively connect with their inner vision so that they can experience personal and professional magnetism and become unapologetically abundant, which is the name of her podcast. Her mission is to empower visionaries who are on the path to embody their fullest self-expression to soulfully expand into a quantum leap in all dimensions of their lives. And she gives immense clarity and exact steps to unlocking women's divine feminine and abundance mindset through subconscious work as a certified breathwork facilitator, Reiki, NLP, and human design practitioner. She leads her 6- and 7-figure clients to their next level in life and business, and I'm all about it. We're here for it today. Petia, how are you doing?
I am so good. And I love that we did like the warm up, in my podcast. I'm like, this wasn't enough. Like, I'm so happy we have like the part 2. So we'll make sure to send you the link for the listeners because our podcast was so deep and so delicious. I loved it.
I know. I'm so glad. And I love that I get to connect with other like women like yourself, who, and I really love connecting, especially like with women who are taking their business to bigger levels, because that's where I'm at. Like I'm really wanting to scale and done all the groundwork, doing all the healing. And now it's like time to infuse the business with all the juiciness that comes with that. So we're going to jump into all of that today because when you're on this journey, like as Bethany Frankel says, business is personal, it does get personal. So off that statement alone, how do you feel about that?
I love it so much. And I was like, that's like something I would say because I always teach my clients, like, you are your business. Unless you are creating a product and you never show your face, which is never our case, right?
Yeah.
Like you and me, we're face on camera and podcast and everywhere. And a lot of my clients who come to me, they are here to help other people, which means you get to show up. And then it becomes really personal because there's a million other healers, million other coaches. Let's be honest, there is business mentor on every corner, right? However, there's only one you. And that's what we have to learn to truly embrace. That's what's going to really attract your soulmate clients. That's how you will be scaling your business. Not because you will be following someone else's blueprint, but because you will be really bringing out your personality, your personal story, because you're going to be bringing it all forth. And that's what's going to make you so uniquely qualified to work with your perfect clients who are heaven, yes, full body, yes, who are easy to work with, who are not demanding, who are not needy, who want to grow with you. And it is so life-giving. And I'm so excited that you're on your like journey to expand too, because I feel like so many of us, we are called to expand and to grow in all of our areas. And for me, last year becoming a mother was, I feel like, the biggest expansion of it all. It's like You want awakening, you thought that you had awakening, have a baby. You know what I mean? Everything will change. My priorities, how I lead my business, how I work with my clients, it all change. And whether you choose or have babies or not, the thing is that every single day, every single way, we are called to expand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because, there's this, I don't know who said it, Nicole, but that's saying like, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I think Miller,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes, 100%. Because I feel, well, the universe constantly wants to expand upon itself, right? And sometimes in order to expand, you have to contract a little, and and I think that's a cycle that we go through. So for instance, I've noticed in, like, in my business, it's like, okay, like there's some growth and then all of a sudden it shrinks a little and then it
Mhm.
grows some more and then it shrinks a little. And then, sometimes you hit these walls and you're like, God, like when does it finally hit? And I watched a ton of different like successful business owners say like I had to fail at like 12 businesses before I hit my most successful one. And so like you just never know. Like sometimes I think we've been so programmed by that instant gratification of that story that grabs us, of the person who went from like, oh, just to use an example of like, say, rags to riches or something like really extraordinary that really stands out. And you're like, oh, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. But the reality is that although that's possible, a lot of us hit these dips, like these valleys and peaks throughout the journey. So what do you have to say to someone who is experiencing like that contraction and then expansion?
I literally feel like the universe is talking through you, Nicole. Like there are no coincidences. I personally have been talking about this with my mentor last week because I'm like, I literally got in my head because I'm like, I was talking to her. I was like, Taylor, like, sometimes I feel like a fraud because I had months that I did 40K, 30K, 20K, and then I had a dip. I had a baby and I had a dip. I didn't want to be adulting. Like last year, I experienced miscarriage and I went through depression and I didn't want to show up. I didn't want to do anything. I literally felt that I failed as a woman. And I'm like, if I'm failing with my own body, like, how can I even lead other women? There was like
Oh,
this deep wound that I had to like heal through
yeah.
and look deep into. And I'm so happy you're bringing it on because it is so easy to say, like, hey, like, I'm making 100K months and it's so easy and blah, blah, blah. Well, good for you. And a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we go through these ebbs and flow, and it's absolutely normal. Like you said, there is expansion, there is a contraction. It is absolutely natural. What we don't want to do is want to be really hard on ourselves and think like this is just us and imposter syndrome and get in our heads. It's like you have done it before, you can do it now. You can do it again. I feel like it's like just the invitation and initiation to do it differently. So
Mm.
anytime that I'm experiencing dip in my business, so I went from like 40K to like 8K a month. And I'm like, oh my gosh, quote unquote, what's wrong? What do I have to change? What do I have to pivot? And the thing is that I didn't want to be doing business as I was doing before because I was becoming mother. I'm like, this cannot be the same way. The moment that I recognize it, I ask myself, so what do I really want? I zoomed out and I asked, like, what is my life vision? How do I want to live? How do I want to lead? How do I want to be with my family? And then the business can fit into it. When I did that, the month that I gave birth to my daughter, I made 20K month and I was working not even 2 weeks because then she chose to come earlier. She was too excited to be in this world. So it is possible, you have to see just like as a reflection, not of you and who you're being and your worth, that like we have to like disconnect those two. Your worth has nothing to do how much money you make. Your worth
Mhm.
has nothing to do what you create in a business. This is my second business. And when I was listening to Nicole, I was like, I'm not willing to do 12 businesses. I don't know what I would
I
do.
know. I don't want to do 12 businesses either.
No, no, I'm on my second one and I'm like, I'm done and I'm happy to pivot it. And I did. And who I work with changed. When I started my business, I was like a mindset coach and then life coach. coach. And then, my first even business was social media marketing agency. So I grow and I pivoted. And I used to be helping women who were in a corporate, hated their job, wanted to start their business. That used to be exciting for me 5, 6 years ago. It's not
Mm.
exciting for me
Yeah,
anymore.
because you change, you evolve. And so
Exactly.
that's why business is personal, because if your business is you, it has to grow with you.
Exactly. I love that. And this is such a beautiful like permission slip. And I wish that somebody would have given it to me like 7 years ago when I was in my first business. I was feeling like, oh, I cannot give up on this because I invested so much time and money to have my social media marketing agency, but my heart wasn't in it.
Mhm.
I understood later that that was just a part of it, but it's not it. It's like when you're doing something and you're like, "Ooh, I know I'm meant to do astrology or human design, and I'm not supposed to do only that."
Yeah.
Like when we give ourselves permission to go what is calling us to do what we are curious about, that's when it gets really fun and it gets really rich, and then you are magnetic on a personal and also professional business level because you're doing really things that make you feel alive.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's what other people want. We don't want to be, honestly, I don't want, if you want, let me know, but they would be so unique. I don't want to be working with people who are overworked, who are tired, who are frustrated, who are, like sacrificing time with their family and loved ones. I don't want to do that. So
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to hire anyone like that. I'm not going to be working with anyone like that. And so we get to be really embodiment of what do we want to be calling in. I don't want to be calling in clients who want to work 7 days a week and hustle and work hard. Maybe I did that in my 20s. In my 40s, I'm unwilling to do that. I work, 2 to 3 days a week. I work literally a couple hours. Like today, I had one unexpected, loved it, Instagram Live. I have another you on my calendar, and that's it for today.
Yeah. Yeah.
We build our businesses so it matches who we want to be
Mhm.
and not the other way around.
No, I completely agree. And so you have an incredible story. And just recently, I saw on one of your recent Instagram posts that, you were talking about how just a couple years ago, you were living in a different country, you were held at gunpoint and robbed, you miscarried. And then, now fast forward, you're living in a new home, you've got a new baby, you went from a dip in your business, which again, you've already said 8,000 a month, to now like 20, 40,000 a month, so first of all, before we actually get into the details of some of those pieces of that journey, what was the surrender? Like, take me through the surrender, like when you're like, wow, I need to let go.
Mhm. I love that question, Nicole. And I feel like that's exactly what happened because I tried to control it all. I tried to like grasp it and have all the answers. Like the moment that we decided that we want to start like calling our spirit baby and start family with my husband, I feel like just like my subconscious mind like completely freaked out and I didn't feel safe. And it's so funny, like listen how we are creating our reality, right? Like we're deciding to have a baby and I'm not feeling safe. Can I be mother? Can I be wife? Can I be lover? Can I run my business? Can I really do that? And I felt like my foundation start shaking.
Mm.
And I freaked out and I just turned into other people. I did like a human design reading and I talked with a business mentor and like I was like looking for the answers everywhere else but me. I didn't pause to ask myself, what do I really want? So that's everything that created the freak out. And I created pricing and packages that weren't me and didn't work, of course. So then there was a dip and I felt just like so insecure, not feeling safe. And then I was, with my husband held at a gunpoint in Mexico and robbed of everything. Like, my wedding band and phones and everything, like the emotional and sentimental value that just breaks my heart like the most because the ring that I had for like my wedding band, my grandma
Oh.
gifted us the money for it and she passed. So it's just like the sentimental and emotional value but I didn't feel safe doing all of this, and this manifested. So when that happened, I had to like ask for help and not try to control it and do it all and come back to myself. So I did like, like it's called Jansu, and it's like a water healing, deep water
Mhm.
healing in Mexico. And then I work with midwife on a womb healing and activation. Then I work like back here in the United States on a Reiki healing, like feeling safe in my body, reconnecting with my body, and all these things. So I had to surrender of my idea of what it has to look like, because it wasn't how I really wanted to do that. So
Yeah. And okay, I don't mean to interrupt you there, but that's an
Mhm.
important point to make. And that's something I've just discussed on a podcast that's coming out just a couple weeks before yours does, where we talked about like, what is it that I actually want? Because we say, like, oh, maybe I want this and this and that, but is that going to create the life that I truly want to live? And so, what were some of the key elements that you needed to understand were what you wanted, and how was what you thought you wanted out of alignment with that?
So it is so interesting. Like I said, like I love when I can zoom out, and I help my clients to do that, like really zoom out and really ask yourself, what life do you want to live? What do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? And then what would you feel when you're living that life? How can you feel it now? How can you be energetic match for that? Start feeling that now, start creating it now, start taking the steps now. And it's interesting because what I did back then, and I started to do it now because I'm up leveling, even more now. So I feel like with each up level, we get to come back to ourselves. We get to come back into our truth, who we are, what do we truly desire. And like I started to journal of what is the future version of me doing? And it's funny, I do it before I go to bed, and I like journal about it because
Mhm.
then my subconscious mind can really work on that. But it is so beautiful when we can really look at it and we are not acting out of fear or out of scarcity or out of other people's advice. This is you. This is you and your desires. And it's so freeing and it's so like activating that, like I said, I love doing it before bed, because then I'm aligning with what I truly want, and I let the universe to surprise me. And I know you're into astrology, and I love human design. I don't know how familiar
Yep.
you're with it. But in human design, I'm a specific manifester, which means that the more detail I go into my desires, the deeper and easier like I manifest it. If you're
Mhm.
non-specific, you just gotta be more general. But for me, like anytime I journal about my specific desires, anytime I create Pinterest board or vision board, or I don't have it right now on my phone. I used to have it, and I'm like, where did it disappear? I was telling my husband, I was like, I had a, what is it called? Like vision board, on my phone, and I'm like, where did it disappear? But I love seeing that. I have it on my computer, I have it on my phone, like really seeing, how do I want to live my life? How do I want to feel? What would I want to have? What would I want to do? And have it as a constant reminder.
Mm. I love all of that. And I specifically love that you have a conversation with your future self at night, because that is something I also like to do, is I like to have a conversation like, hey, what are you doing now that maybe I like, are there steps that I'm missing that I need to take that you took in order to get to where you are? Like help me get out of my own way, so to speak. And who better to talk to than your future self?
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing. Now, I want to go back just a little bit though to something you said about having the being robbed at gunpoint in Mexico and having all of your belongings taken, especially like a sentimental belonging such as your wedding ring because of the connection to your grandmother. You said that you manifested that because you were not feeling safe. What, because I think that's important. What was the kind of connector there for you in realizing wow, something needs to shift because I'm starting to create the exact opposite of what I want.
hmm I feel like I said, like I disconnected from my truth. And I
Mm,
feel like every single time when we disconnect from our path and our truth and how do we want to live, how we are meant to live, like things start to manifest, and we think like, why would I want to manifest robbery? Why would I want to manifest miscarriage or car accident, whatever is happening in our lives, right? But the thing is that I really feel that these events are all redirections because sometimes the universe is tapping on our shoulders and we're not listening. We're busy. We're like, leave me alone. I'm doing my own thing, right? But if we just go away from our path, we're going to be brought back, whether we like it or not. It's going to be gentle and then a little bit more forceful. But it's really important to look at these things like they're not happening to me, they're happening for me. And it's not really just a cliche. It's really just, hey, pause. Do you
mhm,
really like where you're heading? Do you really like who you're being? Right? If not, change it now. You don't have to have a breakdowns. You don't need to hit the rock bottom like people say. You don't. Really ask yourself, and this is something that I love asking all of my like new clients, if nothing ever changes, are you okay with that?
mm,
It's your life, it's right here and right now. Are you okay with that? And you guessed it right. Most of them, they're like, no, like, I don't want this. Okay, let's change it.
mhm,
But Nicole, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't like want to stay where I was. But now, if you would have asked me, like, I have a loving, supportive husband. I have a beautiful baby daughter. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I have a business that really fulfills me. I help other women to build and expand their businesses, and women who work with me, they're helping others. I don't like everything in my life. It's an upgrade now. Yeah, I want
mhm.
a bigger car. I want a bigger house one day. Now I'm very happy. But, I want to have more babies. My husband wants like five. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's so easy to say because you're not birthing them. You know what I mean? So easy for men. But I'm so happy he's so enthusiastic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, for sure. Absolutely. It's interesting because, like I had to put a lot of focus on my business, but now I'm redirecting a lot of my priorities to becoming a mother. And what are all the steps that need to happen before that can happen? And did your business prepare you for motherhood in any way?
I have like a goosebumps all over my body, Nicole. This is just so beautiful and so perfect. I had a client who actually just gave her birth like 10 days ago to her healthy baby boy. She worked with me a couple of years ago on her business and her money mindset. Then, like, we took a pause because I was pregnant, miscarried, pregnant again. She had a miscarriage too, actually. And then she messaged me 4 or 5 months ago. She was like, can we work together? But I just want to work on the motherhood and the business because I want to prepare. Because honestly, I feel like I had to prepare myself first and then my business, but it's so beautiful that you and me and so many other women, who might be listening are so conscious. They're like, I want to prepare. I even have a client. I work with her for almost 3 years now. We built her like she left a corporate. She went from 2K to like she's now on 30K. She's traveling the world. And she's like, you are so inspiring to me when I see you and your daughter. She's like, that's how I want to do it. But now we are pivoting her business on how can you do it when you're a mama? I can promise you, Nicole, everything will change. And I couldn't even imagine that. But thank goodness, like I ask myself, like, how present do I want to be with my family? And there is no right or wrong answer. Like
Mhm.
I knew that even before my daughter came, I work only 3 days a week. And literally, I'm like, I'm a generator, but I feel like I have a soul of projector in human design because I'm like, I don't want to work. I love who I'm being and what I'm doing, and I'm not going to be working 7 days a week. I'm not going
Yeah.
to do that. So
Mm-mm.
you really get to ask yourself, like, how present do I want to be? And what if I don't want to do anything for 3 to 6 months when the baby comes? Because I really feel like the baby bubble and the newborn bubble, It's so precious. You cannot understand it until you hold the baby in your arms. And every
Hmm.
baby and pregnancy is different.
Hmm.
So I prepared for my pregnancy and I created recurring revenue. I created different programs. I created like different length of my programs. And it's so beautiful because like I was with Sophia. I just did nothing and went off grid for 3 months. And then I just did my one-on-one clients. And that's like so fulfilling because I do only one call a month with them. You
Mm.
know what I mean? It is so life-giving. And then I have a boxer support. So I had a baby on my boob and I had like a phone or, like I do my best not to have a phone, on
Mhm.
me when she's around because of the EMF and stuff like that. And I want to be present mama. But, sometimes like you're like, hey, like, like I just want to answer this. And it's so beautiful. So I feel like becoming mother made me even better business owner because I learned how to prioritize. I learned how to say no. And I learned to really charge what I truly desire. Like in a new year, I changed my pricing because I'm like, every single time, and I'm so happy that you were also flexible with it because Nicole, you told me like my interviews are usually longer. I'm like, that wouldn't work for me. It doesn't feel good to me to be away from my daughter for so long. I would love to talk to you. Can we do shorter?
Mhm.
And
And I'm
your
like, yeah,
people
I'm
get
all about
it.
being flexible. That's like,
But your clients, your people, they will get it and they will be so inspired. And I remember I used to be like afraid before like my first pregnancy that we lost later. That's when I didn't trust myself.
Mhm.
I didn't know if I can do that. And then that pregnancy, those beautiful babies just taught me so much through just the couple months that we had together, how to be like really unapologetic, how to own my pricing. What do I really want to be doing? Really honoring my body, really honoring my boundaries. And I was afraid, like, what do my clients do? Because I had clients who enter my literally like a month before I gave a birth, entered to my world and sign up for like 6 months, And I'm like, I will be leaving on maternity leave. And I was afraid. I was like, they will maybe want their money back. No, all these clients were so beautiful. And they're like, take your time, send us baby pictures, do whatever you want to do. It's just the energy and the beliefs that you have
Yeah,
will attract your perfect people. And
I
there's so many
know.
things, Nicole, that you were saying on my podcast. And even today, I resonate so deeply with you that, like your clients will so deeply resonate with you and cheer you so much on like this.
They
Oh,
already do. Like
mhm.
I'm sure you feel the exact same way. I mean,
Yes.
you are already saying it. I have incredible clients. They're so accommodating, they're so giving, they're so open, and like I feel very blessed. But like you said, part of that comes with, can you show up authentically in what your needs are, what you want to create? And then you get to start attracting people who resonate with that and understand those values and hold those values as well. And so in the way that they work with you and the way they want to be doing their healing work, there's give and there's take.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But it's so exciting. I really feel that I have learned so much through motherhood, and it's
Mhm.
so beautiful because I feel like, the old paradigm, it's you have to choose. You can either be mama or you can be business owner, or if you're business owner, you're bad mama because you're not present. And I call it BS
Mhm.
because I really feel, and I said it before, like we can have it all. We just have to choose what all that matters to us.
Yes, okay, let's talk about that because that's big. I'm so glad you just said that, because when you said that earlier when we were chatting before, I'm like, ooh, we need to dive into that. So we need to choose all that matters first. And it's true, because having it all is a very broad statement. It can mean a lot of things. And what someone feels as having it all could be completely different than someone over here saying having it all. So, what for you was having it all?
Oh, I love that question. And exactly how you pointed it. Even when people ask me like what is abundance coach, and I'm like, I just teach people on holistic abundance on all levels. So it's just so beautiful when you're bringing it in. And I feel like having it all for me was feeling that I can be enjoying life, being myself, and doing things on my own terms.
Mhm.
So waking up, whether it's at 4 a.m., whether it's at 8 a.m. with my daughter on my boob, and it just like feeling the spaciousness, feeling that I am making a difference in the world and I can still be me. I don't have to sacrifice who I am and what is important to me. Like I'm looking at her and she just celebrated 8 months, and I'm like, I feel like I just pop you out. Like, where is the time going? And all of these firsts are so precious, and I want to see them. And I don't want
Mm.
to be like sacrificing that, like, okay, I will be full-time mama and I won't do podcasts, I won't do coaching. No, for me, having it all and all that matters to me, it's my family, it comes first. And
Mhm.
then two, it's my business because so my grandma, she transitioned 3 years ago, and it just like broke my heart because she was my soulmate. She was my best friend. I used to call her every single day. And so not having her heal in here in the physical form, it's just like I miss her every single day still. And it took me a couple months to be really able to connect with her because I was so attached. Like, if there is any afterlife, blah, 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 you have to show yourself to me and all these things, like putting conditions and trying to control things, right? But then I did a breathwork session on when I was getting certified 3 years ago as a breathwork practitioner. And that was the day that I was able to connect with my grandma and talk to her. And she said, my legacy lives through you. And that is so important to me because she was never able to, I don't want to even say like fulfill her dreams because she never even took a time to say, like, oh, I can have a dreams.
Mm.
And it's so sad to me, that women used to live like that, not prioritizing themselves, not even asking themselves, how do they want to live? What are their dreams? Can I go for them? Can I achieve them? So knowing that by me helping women to grow their business abundantly with simplicity while they are have a full life, that's everything to me because it's not just about me. It's about my grandmother, it's about my mother, it's about my daughter, my future children. I'm showing them what is possible to be you, to be abundantly paid for your gifts, to have fun with the family without sacrificing your well-being. It's so important to me, and I keep like repeating it because I used to sacrifice it. I used to work 7 days a week. I used to have like two businesses. I used to have like four side hustles. I sacrificed it all because I was thinking like, oh, to be successful, you have to work all the time. To be successful, you have to like undercharge and you have to have like a lot of people. And it's just like, it's not my way. I don't want to do it that way. And even my husband, we have like different views on what success means. For me, it's the depth, it's the intimacy. I absolutely love working with my clients one on one or do small intimate groups. I know you do retreats, so you get it. I used to do like private small retreats, 5 to 7 women, and I was so deep with them
Mm.
versus like my husband who's like, oh, I love big and groups and Tony Robbins style. I was like, good for them, but it doesn't
Yeah.
fulfill me. I want to go deep. I want to see
Mhm.
you. I want to hold you. I want to know everything about your life.
Mhm.
Like my clients, when they work with me, it's not just like, hey, let's look at your sales page. Let's look at your Instagram. Let's look at your new programs. It's about how you're doing. My
Yeah.
client who goes through infertility journey, my other clients who just gave a birth, my other client who was going through divorce. Like I know their hearts. You are your business. The business, it's personal. It's like a full
Yes.
circle.
And I totally, I'm the same as you. I'm the same as you in that I'm realizing, like, okay, yeah, I had these visions of like, big, groups and like, again, like Tony Robbins kind of thing. And it's not that the odd time that would be a bad thing, but it certainly wouldn't be the core of what I want to do. And I've myself have found like my favorite part of my business so far has been the retreats. It's just I loved every minute I got to see everyone in person versus like through virtual, Zoom or whatever it might be. I got to touch them, we got to hug, I got to like hold their hands while they cried. it just got to fully nurture them in all the ways that I'm capable of nurturing my clients and it's beyond just like the conversation, right? It's beyond that. And so yeah, when it's like when I'm with my clients, I want like we're gonna go as deep as we can go, And when we come out on that other side, it's just gonna be total rebirth. And I think like I'm very I love that. I love that so much. So seeing that that is where I really want to go, I'm like, well, maybe I just need to start doing maybe 4 retreats a year and, and allow like whoever wants to show up for those and maybe some group coaching and the odd one-on-one here. Because like you, I'm wanting to put my priority on my family. And that's like my biggest dream come true will be that.
Mm.
And I can't sacrifice that. So what was one of your sacrifices that you didn't realize was going to need to be sacrificed because it was actually taking you away from what you truly desired?
Hmm. I feel like it was like letting go of the old self, like the death of the maiden, because like my first business and the first part of my life was like the maiden who always wanted to be like cheered on and who wanted to be saved and like that like princess style. I had to let her go and I had to become mother even before I was ever mother. I had to become the queen. I had to own my gifts. I had to own my values. And it was kind of sad, like let go of a part of you who kept you going, who kept you like like surviving, right? But really to thrive and to have my dreams, I have to let go of that old vision of how things should be,
Mhm.
like the old paradigms, like man is the breadwinner and like you have to be stay-at-home mom and things like that. Like I'm the breadwinner, and we both work from home, with my husband, and we have nanny for a couple hours a week. But it's like letting go of the old beliefs, how things should be like, and the old version of me, who I was, to allow the rebirth. I love that you said that because on like I said, my daughter, she came a week earlier, or however, 39 weeks, she came earlier. And I didn't have like time to like prepare everything how I wanted it because we did home birth with midwife and doula and
Yeah.
it was, amazing birthing, amazing, quote unquote. Like it was not the gentle like birth that I planned for. She planned a little bit differently, but it's all good. But the only candle that I had in a bathroom was called Rebirth. And I bought it like a year ago, but I never touched it. And intuitively, I'm like, I will know when to use it. And when I started to have the surges, I told my husband, I'm like, light up that candle. And he tried a bathtub, So, and I was so bossy, like the whole thing. He was amazing. He didn't move from me. He didn't move from me. Like, give me coconut water, give me dates, give me peanut butter, like, and I told him, like, if you want to have more kids, you're birthing them. I'm not doing this ever again. And now when I see her growing, I was like, okay, I want a newborn. Yeah.
I love that. And it's so true. I think one of the most valuable moments in my life has come when I realized instead of envisioning what I think I should be or do, what if I created space for what could be? And so instead of the should, what could be? And I think that's open to limitless possibility. That's creating from a blank canvas that can expand and expand and expand upon itself.
Mhm.
And the should is never anything that I ever aligned with in my life, like my whole journey has been anything but the should path. And so I think that that can be a very valuable moment in anyone's life when they start to really go inside and do a lot of introspection on what they are doing. And is it because they should be doing it, or are they doing something because they could be doing it? And
Hmm.
that's a huge defining factor in the total transformation of wherever you're at.
Yeah, it truly is. And also, like, really asking yourself, what do I really want to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is also like what I did with my first business, like I forgot about the shoulds and then I'm like, oh, I could do this, right? Like I could do that because I was good at it. And sometimes the coulds can be also a little bit tricky, Nicole, because I feel like I could do this because that comes to me easily. Like that's why I had my first social media marketing agency, right? I could do that. But do I really want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
going even deeper and asking
Yeah.
yourself, what do I want right now? Because what do you want, Nicole, right now is going to be different from what do you want in 3 months. And knowing that you will evolve and grow, and so will your business, and so will your clients. My clients are no newbies. They already done the healing work. They already done the inner work. They already have the foundation. They're business owners who want to be helping more people and they want to scale into more income without sacrificing their, themselves and their families. So this evolved. I could never imagine that this would be me 7 years ago. So what do you want right now? What is important to you right now? What are you curious? What is moving you? And when you can allow these answers to come through,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you will be richly rewarded.
Yes, I love I'm so grateful that you expanded upon that and took it even further because you're absolutely right. There are so many things I could do, but
You
what's
really want to do
feasible and what
it?
do I really want, you know? And so yes, getting even clearer once you have that nice kind of canvas of all the coulds, what's really pulling at your heartstrings? Like what makes you feel like a solid firm yes inside. I think that's really key. So
Mhm.
this has been incredible. And of course, I'm so grateful that you've been able to even spend this much time with me and my audience today. I know you've got a beautiful daughter to get back to. And so let my audience know if you've got anything going on, where they can find you, and yeah, how they can get in touch with you.
So my favorite place to connect is Instagram. That's where it all is, or my podcast, Unapologetically Abundant. And right now I'm doing something that was really on my heart ever since I got pregnant, and I created a short 4 weeks program for mamas. It's called Magnetic Mama. So that's where I'm pouring my energy into. It's launching on April 24th. And it's for women who really want to, like I said, have it all that matters to them, expanding their family, expanding their business, and truly feeling magnetic and alive, knowing the simple steps on how to be growing, looking at the business, looking at life, and having a safe space and community where they can do that. So I'm really excited for that.
Oh my God, I love that's the same day as my retreat launching. So we're both launching on
It's
that number is so powerful, the 42424.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything I do, it's always like align numbers. Plus, it's 2 days before my birthday, my big birthday. So,
Oh, you're a Taurus too?
your Taurus, when is
I'm
your
a
birthday?
Taurus. Mine's going to be the day before this airs. Mine's on May 6th.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. I did my baby shower last year with Sophia on 5/5. I had to do it, 5/5.
Oh my God, on
I got
Cinco de
married on
Mayo.
6/6. It's always, yeah.
I love that. Oh my goodness. So for your magnetic mama course, is that an online go do as you go, or is it?
So it's going to be the first one is going to be live. And listen, if you're listening to this and we already started week 1, please just DM me. I'm super happy because of Nicole just let you in. You will have a lifetime access to it. So no worries. The first 4 weeks, it's going to be live and I will be there, but you can like join, like anytime, even if we launch. And then it's going to be standalone course. But I just love being live with people, like small,
Yeah.
intimate group of people. In person, it's even better. But like I said, I'm still with the baby on a boob every hour and a half or two. So I'm not doing in person. So they can always DM me on Instagram and ask about my offers and just join me.
Oh, perfect. So for anyone out there who's thinking about it, make sure you let her know that you found her through me, because then you'll get a quick access into the course. I love that. Thank you so much for being so generous to my audience. And thank you so much for coming on the show. I love connecting with you. We've got to stay in touch
Oh my
because
gosh, we
I
are
know I'm going to be picking your
so
brain at
good.
some point down the road
Yep.
when the seeds are planted.
Oh, it's I was telling you, it's contagious. The pregnancy energies are contagious. So
Yeah. Oh, I
can't wait
love
for
this.
it.
was such a blessing. Well, thank you so much to my audience. I love you guys so much. I'm going to leave all of the links in the details below this video or in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast later. Guys, I love you so much. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the show, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks again for joining me for another show on the Enlighten Up podcast. I love you guys so much for all of your continued support. So remember to raise your vibe, find your tribe, and be open to the infinite possibilities held in the mysteries that surround us all. Thanks again for sharing the show with your family and friends. And if you're new to the show and you need to find out more information about me, please head on over to my website, NicoleFrolick.com, where you can join my newsletter. And please follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Keep your light bright, and I'll see you next week.